Hey guys, welcome back to Cooking with LiyahJ. So today I have something extra special for you guys today. So I am going to be making lobster mac and cheese, but with a live lobster. So I went to Wegmans and I didn't want to buy this 4-pack of lobster tails that they had that was like $36.99. I was like, I don't even want lobster tails, so I don't need to get all that. So I was like, let me just go ahead and get a live lobster. You know, he was only $10. So I was like, okay, great. That is a great deal. So I get in the car and I'm looking up how to make the lobster. And I find out that you have to put a knife through its head in order to desensitize it and then cut it all the way down through. And I watched the video, and in the video where the lobster is already half laying on the kitchen table, his legs were still moving. I was like, I can't do it. So the way that I'm gonna be preparing the lobster, I'm going to be dunking it in some boiling water and doing it that way, and then I'm gonna zhuzh it up with some butter and some seasonings and all that good stuff afterwards. But I just can't bring myself to put a knife through its head. So we're just gonna go ahead and jump right into this video. This should be very interesting. I hope he does not try to jump out of the pot. Oop, Lord help me, that's all I can say. Lord, please just guide me through this process and just help me through it, guys. But we're gonna make something very delicious today. Only requires a couple ingredients, so we're just gonna jump right into it. All right, so here's everything you're going to need for the lobster mac and cheese. I have some heavy cream here. You can also use milk. But I have heavy cream, I have Cavattapi noodles, I have some breadcrumbs, salt, pepper, Old Bay seasoning, about 3 tablespoons of flour in that little bowl. I have cheddar cheese, Gruyere cheese, and then I have some Asiago, and then I also have some butter and some parsley, and of course we can't forget our lobster. All right guys, let's just go ahead and jump right into it. First thing first, we're starting with the lobster. All right guys, so here I have my water already boiling. I've salted it with a little bit of water. The instruction says to take them out, put them in head first, stick them all the way in there, and then cover it with the lid. So that's what I'm gonna do. I hope that everything goes as planned. I'm actually very sad to kill them, but we gotta do what we gotta do. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Sitting right over here in the box. Oh, Lord help me. Ooh. Oh my God. Y'all, I don't know. Ooh. Oh. All right, you can do this. Just stick them in. All right, 1, 2, 3. Y'all, my heart is beating so fast right now. Okay, ready, set, go. Talk about head first. Ooh. Ooh. Oh Lord. Okay, he's in there. Ooh. Okay. All right, so now it says to leave him in there for 10 minutes. We'll leave him in there for 10 minutes and he'll come out nice and red. Here is our fully cooked lobster. I accidentally tore his little arm off, but we're just gonna go ahead and take these claws off. I'm gonna take the tail off and we're gonna discard the rest. There's some meat in these little, his little legs right here, but we don't need to do all that. So we're just gonna be using the claw meat and the lobster tail. So here is our lobster, and I'm just gonna cut this into bite-sized pieces. I'm only making 1 serving of the lobster mac and cheese, but if you were making this for more people, I would just say do 1 lobster tail per person. So if you're making enough for 4 people, get 4 lobster tails, but if it's just for yourself, you only need 1. This is more than enough. That's all there is to that. Now I am going to put this back into the pan for just another couple of minutes with some butter and some salt and pepper, just so we can season this up a little bit. I'm gonna go back over to the stove and start putting together our mac and cheese. So back here I have my water coming to a boil with the shells of the lobster. I'm just gonna add a pinch of some kosher salt, and we're gonna let that come to a boil. And then I have about 1.5 cups of Cavattapi over here. Like I said, I'm just making 1 serving, so this is all you're gonna need. Water is boiling, so we're just gonna go ahead and add our pasta. And we're just gonna boil this until it's done. We are not going to cook this until it's al dente, because sometimes with al dente pasta, it's not thoroughly cooked through the middle. So I want the pasta to be able to absorb the cheese sauce that we're gonna make for our mac and cheese. So I'm gonna cook it just until it's done. We're not baking this mac and cheese. You can bake it, and I will give you some tips on how to do that if you wanna bake it. But we're just gonna cook this until it's all the way through, and then we're gonna get started on our cheese sauce. So while our pasta is cooking, I'm just melting 1 tablespoon of butter here. Once this is all nice and melted, we're just gonna throw our lobster in. We're gonna season it with some salt and pepper, and we're just gonna let all that butter soak into that lobster so we can season that up a little bit for our pasta. Pepper. We're just gonna saute that a little bit. And that's all there is for that, guys. That was literally like maybe a minute and a half. Nothing too serious. You just wanna get that butter into that lobster and the salt and pepper. And we're just gonna set this back over to the side. Y'all, please excuse my pots. I need some new pots and pans. I know that the bottom of that is unacceptable, but we're just gonna ignore that. But anyways, I drained off our pasta, and I have reserved some of the pasta water just in case we need to thin out our cheese mixture. So now I'm just gonna start by making a roux. So I am going to take about 2 tablespoons of butter. We're just gonna melt that down. And then over here, I have 3 tablespoons of flour, and we're just gonna add a tablespoon at a time until we get the right consistency. Yep, and this is the consistency you're looking for. So we're just gonna cook this a little bit just so we can get the raw flour taste out of that. And once it gets to a little bit more of a golden color, we're gonna add in our heavy cream. And I'm not making my roux as thick as I would usually do because I am already using heavy cream. You can also use milk for this. So if you are using milk instead of heavy cream, I would suggest maybe adding one more tablespoon of flour, maybe a tablespoon and a half of flour to this, and it'll be a bit of a thicker texture. But like I said, I'm going to be using heavy cream, and then I also have my pasta water over there just so we can thin it out a little bit just in case. So as you can see, it's gotten to a light golden brown color. So now we're just going to add in our heavy cream. And this is about 1.5 cups of heavy cream. I'm just going to add, not all of it first, just to see how much I might need. Yep, so 1 cup of heavy cream would be just enough. And we're just gonna let this get heated through until it gets nice and thick. And I am just going ahead and going to add a little bit of our pasta water just for more added flavor. Like I said, this is a very simple dish, but you wanna make sure that you're elevating every part of your dish as you go along. Just because it's simple doesn't mean it doesn't need to be flavorful. That's probably about 2 or 3 tablespoons, and that's all I'm gonna add to that. Like I said, we're just gonna let this get nice and thick. All right, so our mixture has gotten nice and thick, as you can see. Now we're gonna go ahead and add our cheese. So here I just have 2/3 of the Gruyere cheese, if I can say that, Gruyere cheese. I have 2/3 cup of the cheddar cheese, and then I have 1/3 cup of the Asiago cheese. The Asiago cheese is optional. I just really like Asiago cheese, so that's why I'm using it. And you might not need all this cheese, so we're just gonna add this and see what our consistency is looking like. So our cheese is nice and well incorporated. So now we're just gonna add some seasonings. We're gonna add some pepper. I'm probably gonna be adding a teaspoon of black pepper. I'm gonna add a few pinches of salt. I'm gonna mix that together. And guys, you do not have to freshly grate your cheese. I only grated my own cheese because sometimes the outside of the cheese that you get in the packages, it has a coating on the outside of the cheese so it doesn't stick together in the package. And when you put that in your pastas and in your mac and cheese, sometimes it can get kind of oily and there just be too much going on with that. So I think it's always better to just go ahead and freshly grate any cheese that you're using for anything. So that's why I went ahead and did that. And like I said in the beginning, you don't have to use the Asiago, but the Gruyere and the Cheddar is essential. So now we're just gonna go ahead and drop our pasta in. We're going to put our lobster in. Stir that up. And then we are going to add the rest of our cheese in there. Just going to mix that up. Now we're just gonna go ahead and give it a little taste test just to see where we're at. Ooh, come on, cheese. Let me prosper. Ooh, I'm making a mess. And we are tasting good. So now we're just gonna transfer this into our dish, and then we're gonna make our topping to go on top. For the topping, it's quite simple. We're just gonna melt some butter here. And once this gets all nice and melted, I'm gonna be using these seasoned breadcrumbs that has Romano cheese, garlic, and onion flavor. So that's gonna add a nice little touch to the topping. We're just gonna melt this down. I'm gonna sprinkle probably about 3 or 4 tablespoons in here. We're just gonna saute the breadcrumbs a little bit, and then I'm gonna season it with some salt and some pepper, and then a little bit of Old Bay. Of black pepper, just a little bit of Old Bay. That's it. Probably about half a teaspoon there. I'm gonna take a pinch of salt. That's it. That's what the topping should be looking like. Now we're just gonna go ahead and put this on top of our mac and cheese. And I have my oven with the low setting of the broiler on. And we're just gonna put it in there until the top gets nice and golden brown. So as you can see, I just sprinkled it all over the top there. Like I said, I'm just gonna put it in the oven just for a couple of minutes. Make sure you watch it because the broiler can be tricky. And we'll be back for the finished product. All right, and here is the finished product. I'm gonna go right there for this bite. I gotta make this one. Alright guys, that is it for this video. Make sure you guys go ahead and comment down below what type of videos you guys would like to see from me next. I'd love to get some more suggestions. But make sure you guys go ahead and comment below, like, subscribe, and share my video. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.